"The child is not yours," she announced while I was setting up the nursery I'd been working on for weeks. So I silently packed the crib back in its box and changed all the locks. Now she's begging me to raise another man's baby because he won't return her calls. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. 3 weeks. That's how long I'd been secretly working on the nursery. Sarah had told me she was pregnant on a Tuesday night over takeout Chinese food, and I'd been planning ever since. Not just planning, doing. I'd painted the spare bedroom a soft cream color, bought a convertible crib that would grow with the kid, researched the safest car seats, and even started looking at houses with better school districts. I was 29, a software developer with a stable job and enough saved up to handle a baby. Sarah was 27, worked in marketing at a tech startup, and we'd been together for 3 years, living together for 18 months. This felt like the natural next step, even if it was a little ahead of schedule. That Saturday afternoon, I was in the nursery assembling the crib I'd surprised her with. It was one of those expensive ones with organic cotton mattresses and non-toxic finishes. The kind of thing I never would have bought for myself, but for my kid, nothing was too good. I'd even gotten a mobile that played lullabies. One of them was this melody Sarah hummed sometimes when she was happy. I heard her key in the door around 3. She'd been out to lunch with friends, something about wedding planning for her coworker Emma. I was excited to show her what I'd accomplished while she was gone. "Hey babe, come see this," I called out when I heard her drop her purse. I got the crib set up. The mobile plays that song you hummed the other day. She walked into the room, but she was staring at her phone instead of looking at what I'd built. "Oh, yeah, it's nice." I stood up, wiping my hands on my jeans. The room looked incredible. Soft lighting, everything organized and ready. I was thinking we could paint that accent wall this weekend. Maybe a soft yellow since we don't know the gender yet. "What do you think?" She was still on her phone, texting someone. "Actually, we need to talk." "Sure, but look at this first." I picked up a tiny onesie I'd bought. It said, "Daddy's Little Programmer," in binary code. Nerdy, but I thought it was cute. The mattress is organic cotton, and I got these blackout curtains so, Mark, stop. Just stop with all this. Something in her voice made me freeze. I was still holding the onesie, and suddenly it felt heavy in my hands. "What do you mean stop? I thought you were excited about. The child is not yours." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stood there, still holding the baby clothes, trying to process what she'd just said. "What? It's not yours. I'm about 12 weeks along, and we hadn't, around that time." I looked around the room. The freshly painted walls. The crib I'd spent 2 hours assembling. The changing table I'd already stocked with diapers. "But you told me it was mine." "I've been planning. I told my parents they're going to be grandparents." I know what I said. I was scared and confused, okay? But I figured it out. Figured what out? She finally looked up from her phone. "It's Ryan's. From work. We had that conference in Denver, remember?" Denver. She'd been gone for 4 days in March. Said she was too busy with client meetings to talk much. I'd sent her good morning texts that she'd answered hours later with one-word responses. "The conference where you said you were too busy for calls. Look, it just happened. One night. I was drunk, and you've been lying to me for 3 weeks. While I've been building a nursery. I didn't know how to tell you. But I'm keeping it and moving out tomorrow. Ryan and I are going to try to make this work." I set the onesie down on the changing table. My hands were shaking slightly. "Ryan knows. He found out yesterday. He's processing. But he wants to do the right thing." "And what's the right thing for me?" "I've been shopping for car seats, Sarah. I'm sorry, okay? I never meant for it to get this far. But this is my chance to have a real family. A real family. You know what I mean. With someone who actually wants kids." I looked around the room again. At everything I'd built. Everything I'd planned. "I'm literally standing in a nursery I built for you. Built for the baby. Not for me. There's a difference." She kept talking after that, but I stopped listening. Something had shifted in my head, like a switch flipping off. I walked over to the toolbox and started putting my screwdrivers away. Methodically. Quietly. "Are you even listening? This is hard for me too." I unplugged the mobile and started winding up the cord. "Say something." I opened the instruction manual for the crib and began taking it apart. Step by step, in reverse order. "You're just going to ignore me now?" I folded up the instruction manual and put it back in the box. "Fine, be childish. I'll pack my stuff." She left the room. I heard her in the bedroom, opening drawers, tossing things around. I kept working, disassembling everything I'd put together. Every screw, every panel, every piece back in its original packaging. It took me an hour to put everything back the way it was before. The room looked like a spare bedroom again. No trace of the future I'd been building. While she packed, I made some calls. First to the furniture store about return policies. Then to the landlord about changing the lease. Then to my bank about the joint savings account I'd been adding extra money to for baby expenses. Around 8 that night, she came out with 2 suitcases. Where am I supposed to stay tonight? I told Ryan I was moving out tomorrow. I was sitting at my laptop, looking at 1-bedroom apartments. Hotel. Seriously? After 3 years. After 3 weeks of lies. One mistake doesn't erase everything we had. I looked up at her. She was standing by the door with her bags, and for a second, she looked like the girl I'd fallen in love with. But that girl wouldn't have done this. What did we have? I was planning a future with someone else's baby. You're being dramatic. And you're being honest for the first time in weeks. She left that night. I finished my research, sent some emails, and went to bed early. The apartment felt different. Quieter. The next morning, I called in sick to work and got busy. First stop was the locksmith. Then the leasing office to get Sarah removed from the lease. Turned out she'd never been officially added anyway. Just stayed over so much it felt permanent. I boxed up everything she'd left behind and put it outside the door. My phone rang around noon. Seriously? You changed the locks. Your stuff is outside. I need to get my charger. It's in the box. This is illegal. I live here. Lived. Check your email. I'd sent her the lease termination notice and a formal request to pick up her belongings within 24 hours. What email? Lease termination. You're no longer a resident. You can't just kick me out. Ryan can help you move. She hung up. I went back to work on Monday like nothing had happened. For the next 2 weeks, she called every few days. I let it go to voicemail. The messages started confident, then annoyed, then worried. She was staying at Ryan's apartment while they figured things out. She wanted to get coffee and talk like adults. She missed me. She'd made a mistake, but we could work through it. I deleted the messages without listening to most of them. Week 3, the calls stopped. Week 4, they started again. But different this time. Panicked. Ryan had stopped returning her calls. Could I please just talk to her for 5 minutes? She was scared. I changed my number. Work was good. Actually, work was great. Without the distraction of planning for a baby, I threw myself into a project that had been sitting on the back burner. My manager noticed. I got assigned to lead a team on a major client implementation. I started dating again around month 2. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and casual dinners. It felt good to meet people who didn't know my story, who saw me as just Mark, not Mark who got cheated on and lied to. I found a new apartment in a better neighborhood. 1 bedroom, nice kitchen, close to work. I didn't need space for a nursery anymore. That's when she found me. It was a Thursday night, around 9. I was making dinner when the building intercom buzzed. I almost didn't answer, but I was expecting a food delivery. Mark, please. I know you're in there. I stared at the intercom for a long moment. What do you want, Sarah? I need to talk to you. Please. We have nothing to talk about. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Yeah, you did. Ryan was married. His wife found out. He blocked me everywhere. I stirred my pasta and turned down the heat. That sucks. That's it. That sucks. What do you want me to say? I want you to forgive me. I want us to try again. I looked around my apartment. Clean, organized, peaceful. No baby stuff. No drama. No lies. Us? There is no us. There's you. And there's someone else's baby. You loved me once. You were going to be a father. I was going to be a lot of things. I'm scared, Mark. I can't do this alone. You made that choice in Denver. One night. One stupid night. One night where you chose someone else. And then 3 weeks where you chose to lie. Please. I'm living with my mother. She's not supportive. I need someone who cares about me. Through the window, I could see her on the sidewalk. She was obviously pregnant now, maybe 6 months along. She looked tired. Find the father. He won't even acknowledge the baby exists. Not my problem. You build a nursery. You wanted this. I wanted a family, not someone else's leftovers. The silence stretched out for almost a minute. So that's it. 3 years means nothing. 3 years meant something. Until you decided it didn't. I never said that. You said you found your chance at a real family. With someone else. I was confused. You were clear enough. Real family. Someone who actually wants kids. You're twisting my words. I'm remembering them. Exactly. What about the baby? This baby needs a father. The baby has a father. He just doesn't want to be one. But you do. You always wanted kids. I wanted kids with someone who wanted them with me. I do want them with you. No, you want me to raise Ryan's kid because he bailed. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. You had your choice. This is mine. Please don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just not undoing what you did. I love you. I turned off the stove and walked to the window. She was leaning against a streetlight, one hand on her belly, crying. 6 months ago, that would have broken my heart. Now I just felt tired. You loved the idea of me as a backup plan. I hung up the intercom and finished making my dinner. She stayed outside for another hour. I watched her from the window sometimes, but mostly I watched TV and ate my pasta. Around 10, she finally left. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda, the girl I'd been seeing for a few weeks. She was a graphic designer, funny and smart, with no complicated history. She wanted to know if I was free for breakfast tomorrow. I texted back yes, then blocked Sarah's new number from the caller ID log. The next morning, over pancakes, Amanda told me about her weekend plans. A hiking trip with friends. Simple, uncomplicated, honest. She asked if I wanted to come along. I said yes to that too. Later that day, I drove past my old apartment building. Just curious, I told myself. There was a for rent sign in the window where Sarah and I used to live. The landlord had probably gotten tired of her mother calling to complain about the lease situation. I didn't slow down. I had dinner plans with Amanda, and she'd mentioned wanting to check out that new Italian place downtown. 3 weeks later, Amanda and I made it official. She met my parents the following month. They liked her immediately. She was interested in their stories, asked thoughtful questions, and didn't spend the whole dinner staring at her phone. My mother pulled me aside while Amanda was helping with dishes. She's lovely, Mark. Really lovely. I watched Amanda laugh at something my father said. She had an easy smile, the kind that made you want to smile back. Yeah, she is. You seem happy. I was. Genuinely, completely happy. The kind of happy I'd forgotten was possible. 6 months later, I got one final message from Sarah. It came through Facebook, from an account I didn't recognize. The profile picture was her holding a baby. I had a girl. She's beautiful. I'm doing better now, living with my mom still, but we're managing. I wanted you to know I'm sorry for everything. I hope you're happy. I stared at the message for a long time. The baby was cute, I guess. All babies look pretty similar to me. Sarah looked older in the photo, tired but smiling. I closed the message without responding and went to find Amanda. She was in the kitchen of our new apartment. We'd moved in together the month before, making coffee and reading something on her tablet. Morning, I said, kissing the top of her head. Morning. Coffee's almost ready. I was looking at this article about weekend trips. There's this bed and breakfast in Vermont that looks amazing. Yeah? Show me. We spent the morning planning our getaway, sitting at the kitchen table in our sunny apartment, making lists and looking at photos of fall foliage. Simple. Easy. Real. I never responded to Sarah's message. And I never thought about it again. Sometimes people ask me if I wonder about the baby, if I feel bad about how things ended. The honest answer is no. I don't wonder about her, and I don't feel bad. Sarah made her choice in Denver, then made it again every day for 3 weeks while I built a nursery for someone else's child. I made my choice too. I chose to walk away and build something better. Amanda and I got engaged last spring. We're planning a small wedding for next fall. We've talked about kids. We both want them when we're ready. When it's our choice, our timing, our family. Real family, as Sarah would say. The kind where everyone actually wants to be there. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.